I did it. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Free to Heal. And tonight, I wanted to, we started talking briefly last week about family reunification. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to switch reels just for a night. I want to, particularly because so many people didn't have children. But I wanted to talk about in the book that I wrote, which you guys should be familiar with by now, Hurt People Highway. In the book, there's a chapter on identifying unhealthy elements in relationships. And I think that it's important, no matter what the relationship is, that the relationship be a healthy relationship. There are people have a lot of different versions of what a relationship is. I was talking to somebody and we were talking about how you can just fall into a relationship just because you just keep seeing somebody, and next thing you look up and you're in a relationship, or a lot of time has passed and you're in a relationship. But I want you to know that the things that I'm going to read to you that will help you determine whether a relationship is healthy or not, these apply to all relationships, and I mean all of them. So these are the things that some simple tests to identify when you look at any relationship that you're in to determine whether or not it's healthy. Okay. When the relationship frequently causes either party pain. If somebody's constantly being upset, somebody's feelings are hurt, somebody's constantly not living up to their part in the relationship, they're not fulfilling their role in the relationship, all of those things cause the other party pain. And those are unhealthy elements. So that's one way that you can tell, is that if the that's one way that you can tell whether or not it's unhealthy. If somebody's constantly getting their feelings hurt, or somebody else's feelings are always more important than somebody else's feelings in the relationship, that is an indication that it's unhealthy. Why is it unhealthy? Because there's no balance. There's no balance in the relationship, and healthy relationships have balance. So, and I want to use this in the context of parents and children. So particularly when parents come home from incarceration, we touched on it briefly, and I said to you guys, don't let children manipulate you because you were gone either. So as much as you may feel some type of way about having been gone and it may have affected them, don't let them use it to manipulate you, to constantly hurt your feelings, to get you to do just what they want you to do. So that would be one of those situations where it might be a child that has the unhealthy elements in the relationship. They're manipulating a parent because they know that the parent feels guilty or whatever about having left them or whatever, and they use it. So if one party is always causing the other party pain, the relationship by definition is unhealthy. And you guys also feel free just to jump in. Any comments you have, you don't have to wait to the end or wait to be called on. You can always unmute and jump right in where, if you guys have something you want to say. When there's disrespect between the parties. Go ahead, Ms. Di.
I was, I went to visit my son this weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
I haven't actually touched my son physically and seen his face in 15 years, which was very emotional for me, because I haven't touched him, seen him, or had a chance to even just hug my child. So now it's like, it's been a long time since I've seen him. So now we have to start over. Like, I don't even know him. You know what I'm saying? So I took myself, it was nice. I stayed there for like 6 hours the first day on Friday. Then on Saturday, I went back and I took his daughter. And for me, like you said, I sat there when we all sat down or whatever. I said, Deani, this is my son, Dion. And I said, Dion, this is your daughter, Deani. So we could start off and right here now and go forward. But we have to learn how to introduce ourselves to each other. You haven't seen her since she was a baby. I haven't seen you personally in 15 years. We all have to start over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was, huh?
And how did he receive that?
He received it well. He jumped up and hugged us and he told me thank you. He told her thank you. So the day went, the visits went very nice and very smooth. It wasn't uncomfortable, dysfunctional. It was really smooth. Like we were sitting there talking as me and him as adults, him and her as father and daughter. It was very positive.
And did she enjoy it? Because how old was she when he went away?
She was just born in 2007 when he left.
Wow.
So I should take her to see him in the county jail, but that's nothing. Then he did get a chance to help hold her at sentencing, but she was a baby. She didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of triggering moments for me, good and bad. But like I said, by me doing my studies and everything, I've been doing very well, listening to what he's telling me to do, what Yahweh is telling me exactly to do, instead of me always thinking it was me. That was the problem. I thought it was just, I had to do this. I had to do that. If I was doing this, then this would go like this. And all these fights I was up against was even my fight. And I didn't even know that. So now since I'm sitting down doing more and more studying and more healing on myself only, nobody else, talking about me, everything is seeming working out in my favor. And the way Yahweh has been listening to my prayers and my conversations with him.
And so I'm real curious about the ride home with Deani.
Oh, well, Deani's she's difficult because she's, like she said, I miss him, but I don't, because I don't really know him.
She never had him. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know him, but I wish he was here. But just like a difficult conversation a little bit, because it's my son. Of course I'm gonna get defensive, but I have to tell myself, Doda, you can't get to just listen to what she's saying.
No clap back. That's right.
To what she's saying and understand her feelings. Like you want her to understand your feelings. So we had a decent conversation. Gianni's 15, about to be 16. She's very, very intelligent, very, very intelligent. So the conversation was okay. It was good. It was positive.
Good. I'm glad for her. And hopefully, because you were saying now too that the system lets them do some visual something, or
no, we got a chance to touch him, so you can touch him.
No, but I mean in between something that they.
Oh yeah, you can do like now he has a tablet, but on Sundays this is how it goes there. They have visit on Fridays and Saturdays, but on Sundays you do a virtual visit, like a Zoom visit, like we doing right now.
Okay.
Like that. So yeah, we do that.
So maybe she'll get a chance now to have more of those.
Yeah, but he still has a tablet, so she do get a chance to talk to him. Like I said, she's been talking to him and seeing him since he has the tablet.
Okay.
Like, the trouble he got himself into before. Now he's like, okay, now I messed that up. Yeah, you messed it. I want you to understand what you're messing up for yourself, so we can at least see you. So now he has a tablet, and baby, they need to turn it off at a certain time.
That's your recommendation to the CDCR.
Turn it down at a certain time, pimping. Turn it down
so you get some rest.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing that, and I'm so glad that it worked. That it worked out, and that you got to see him. I was in tears.
Yeah.
Pain. I know the pain of not being able to see him or talk to him.
Yeah, that was a burden. That was a real big burden that was on me, and I did give him a hug for you on Saturday, like you asked.
Thank you. Did he squeeze back?
Yes, of course he did. He was like the lady. He always called you the lady.
He remember his auntie.
Yes, he was like the lady.
Yes, that's awesome. I want to just Latanya, can I ask you, because I know you have been gone. You went for a little while, but can you just chime in like your impressions and comments about what Diane just went through? Can you hear me, Latanya?
Yes, I'm here.
Because you weren't separated from your kid. Oh, but that's right. But you said prior to you going, you had some substance abuse issues. So you were kind of in and out then.
Yeah. So I was the longest time I was incarcerated was for just 6 months.
Okay.
So I was gone then, but it was the drugs, the reason why I was out of my children's life like that. And Yeah, it was addiction. My addiction drove me to the streets, and I was just so embarrassed. And my family turned their back on me. My daughter grew a lot of hate for me. Um, and it's crazy that she say that, because it made me think, like, me and my daughter, we're going on vacation in July, and we're going to be gone for like 10 days together. And she told me the other day, she was like, Mom, do you know that we're going to be alone for these many days? And I'm like, yeah. She like, it's like a first date. So now that Diane said that, and I was thinking, I'm like, do I know my daughter? And she's 20, and I don't know her. So I just came to realization, like, um, I don't. So thank you for, bringing that up, because now, like, I'm thinking, like, I don't know my daughter.
And that is, thank you so much. And what she did, what Diane said, introducing her granddaughter to her son, gives them, it'll put it in their mind. Now we get to know each other. But we've talked about it more than once. I know I brought it up that despite people having been gone for a long period of time, coming home is an opportunity to start from where you are now. You
Yeah.
can reinvent yourself, as it were. You got a slate right now where you can build on it whatever you want for now, for your life moving forward. You
Hmm.
don't have to carry all of the baggage from the last life. You see what I'm saying? From
Yes.
prior to that, this is an opportunity to be who you want to be at this time, and establish it with the people around you and in your life. So a lot of people don't know how to let go of our past. If we do one thing with them, they don't know how to let us go from that. They don't know how to see that we have grown from where we were or when we hurt them. But they want to keep us in that same box, and it could be friends for whatever their reasons. I know a lot of people who sold drugs that when they come home, they've done long periods, and people want them to get right back into the game. And they're like, I'm not trying to give up no more life. I'm not trying to do that. So they have to establish new boundaries for that. But this is an opportunity to get to write what it is moving forward, because you cannot undo what happened in the past. You can't, in other words, your 20-year-old daughter, you can't get those days back. All you can do is build from where you're going to go and be consistent in this new relationship. And I see Miss Carter shaking her head. Did you want to comment right there?
Absolutely. What I will say to you both is, or I will ask, have you, Diane, have you given your granddaughter, you had that conversation, but have you given your granddaughter or your child that platform to tell you what they're feeling, how they're feeling? For me, a lot of times the parent is so wrapped in their own emotion that they don't, that when they ask the child the question and the child starts to explain things, they get angry. And it's about hearing the child out. um, Latanya, it's about maybe, because you will have that space, asking your child maybe some questions that you yourself want to ask her, and then giving her the platform and the floor to ask the question without getting defensive, and hearing them out. Because what happens is, sometimes the parent is asking the information and sometimes they're not. It might be just the child venting. But when the child sees that this is hurting the parent or causing distress, the child shuts down, and you don't get the opportunity, the child doesn't get the opportunity to heal, and they continue to carry that. And that's how, what Noreen just said about trying to leave it in the past. You can't leave something in the past that you haven't dealt with.
Or
So,
acknowledged. Yeah.
or acknowledged, right? And so I would implore you to, have some conversation to understand where that child is, and maybe that will help foster that child's recovery from this process. sooner than later, because there is a recovery period for that child as well.
And that's good because you've been through that in that way, and having to go through that recovery, and knowing, having the benefit of your experience with that, and having come to us in our group and gain a different perspective on the other side of it. And I'm sure, all through the book process and all of that stuff, all of that trying to help you to heal through the things that happen that I'm sure you guys never even talked about probably prior to that.
No, the book was a hell of a revelation, on three different angles: myself, my mom, and my daughter. So the book was, eye-opening for all three of us in the things that we'd all discussed that we had just simply never discussed for one reason or another. And I still am very, very close to my daughter. And there were some things that she hid from me in protecting her grandmother from my wrath on how I was feeling. So yeah, there's a lot. One thing I did want to go back and say, when you began the conversation, I wasn't here last week, but when you began the conversation about family reunification, I went to go see my cousin on Saturday with my mom. And he's been down for 21 years. He went down at 17. He's now 38. Family reunification is not just about children. It's about family.
Yeah.
And there is a reunification process no matter who the person is and who the relationship is to the other person. It is not just centered around parents and children, even though that is a big, piece of it. There is definitely that family in the family reunification. He has, a mother that doesn't care, a father that doesn't care. If it's not for me, for my mom, for my daughter, being there in a family that I got 25 cousins. So there's no shortage of people in my family, but the support system and things for those people, the family reunification process is about that support also.
Yes, and I was thinking that earlier today too, is that it because for this particular group, again, not everybody had children, but it is, and it's not even just children and family. It is friends and support system, I think, is a better term to use to cover all of who we're talking about when we talk about that reunification. Latanya, I see that your hand up.
Yes, I just want to chime in. Antoinette, I think I'm finally at a point in my life to where I can sit down and have a conversation with her and listen to the things that she say without being defensive. I couldn't do that a year ago.
Right. It's a process. It's definitely a process. And I went to the prison. I went to a women's prison in Texas just a week and a half ago and spoke to some female prisoners along with my mom. And what I explained to them was, this is my synopsis at 56. My mother had to heal first. She had to heal first because I was always looking for her to reoffend or to relapse. And I was holding my breath. You cannot hold your breath forever. And so the child is continuously going through these patterns of holding their breath, wondering, how long is it going to be this time, and so on. So that process goes on for so long, but the parent themselves, in my opinion, has to heal first. And when they can see the trees behind the forest, and they can see that finish line, they should have laid a trail of breadcrumbs for their child. The child has to figure out how to pick those breadcrumbs up and move forward, because I noticed way before I even got to that process, my mother had healed and she was like, I'm just gonna leave you over there because you still angry. And I was. So when my mother healed 10 years later, 12 years later, whatever that process is, then I began to turn my piece of the healing process out. And you have to begin that process. And so you begin that process by you being able to have that conversation, accept what your children, want to express to you. And then you have to stay on your journey. I talked with a woman whose son was beyond angry at her. She had already done 25 years and had come home, had gotten a job, wanted to be on the straight and narrow. She went on vacation and ended up back in prison with the felony murder of her niece. And she didn't kill her niece. She tried to get the person who killed her niece. In the process, she was charged with felony murder of her niece. And her son's question is not about you getting caught up in a circumstance. Her son's question is, how do I explain to my children that their grandmother is in prison? And on top of that, what kind of grandmother goes to prison in this day and age?
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, tell them a whole hell of a lot of grandmothers are going to prison in today's day and age with what's going on. Hopefully, with what's going on, you can work this out, but you yourself have to stay the course and heal before your son can get to that other side.
Yeah. And, people can say, I can guarantee I'm not going to commit a crime, but you cannot guarantee that you won't be convicted of one. Right?
Bam.
You cannot guarantee. You can say what you won't do, and you can guarantee that you're not going to commit. But like I said, there's no guarantee that you won't wind up in prison. And I'm glad to hear, LaTanya, that you're at a place where you can listen without being defensive.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to defend who you are, what happened, or any of those things. What you got to do from this point forward is simply be consistent in who you are and be consistent in being in their lives, because that's the thing that's going to make the difference. And what I don't want to happen is what I was talking about, which led us into that part of the discussion, which is one party. Like I know that kids manipulate and kids will use whatever they can to get what they want. And what I don't want you to do is to have so much guilt that you allow them to manipulate you in the worst way and make you feel bad constantly. Like you're not an emotional punching bag.
Right.
And that's what I oftentimes happens. So I'm grateful that you're getting that understanding. Did you want to say something, Lionel?
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Uh-huh.
First, let me say, I never want to interrupt anyone from talking, sharing their story. I think that's rude. I try to wait for an opening and stuff like that so I can share my story. Now, for me, when I got incarcerated, my youngest daughter was 3. My oldest daughter was 3. My youngest was 2. And since I've been incarcerated for 33 years, the whole time I was incarcerated, I had relationships with my daughters. I had my parents to bring my daughters and my son to come see me, spend time with them. And as the years went by, I had a strong relationship with my daughters to the point my daughters shared things with me that they wouldn't share with their mothers. Because I was open and understanding, and I listened to them, like you say, I listened to them. I listened to the things they was going through. And at the same time, I didn't judge them, but I taught them the ways I was, how the wrong things I did in life, as far as, it comes to the birds and bees, when it comes to relationship with, other people and stuff, how I mistreated women at a young age. So as my daughters grew older and stuff, like I said, they shared things with me, their trauma, things that happened in their life that made me real angry with their mothers. And I never said nothing to their mothers that my daughters share these traumas with me, because my daughters want this to be their secret, between our secrets, so I kept that secret. But anyways, like as my daughters got in their late 30s now, but as they got in their 30s, right before I got out, one of them, the oldest one, told me, give her $2,500 and give my other daughter $2,500, and when I get out of incarceration, I could double my money up. That would piss me off. But since I told her, you need to double your money up and and do what you telling me, the illegal shit you telling me to do your damn self, because I felt that was disrespectful for her to say something like that to me. But I've realized that she was misled by her mother of the type of person I was when I was out, as far as taking care of her mother and stuff like that. And
And I
so
just want to just don't lose your train of thought, but that's really important right there is
yeah,
is how people, I always say to everybody, some people will want you to be who you were before you went into prison, and they don't realize with all 30 years you did, you're not trying to be that same person coming out on this side.
yeah. But when I got out, I was planning on spending Christmas, with my kids, with my grandkids and things like that. And first thing come out my daughter's mouth is financial gain. They want me, the oldest one, worry about my money, how much money I have, and things like this. I'm like, it's none of your business. My financial, y'all in my personal business now. And my youngest daughter, I told him, I said, the guys you with, if you're not going to marry them, don't come to me. I don't want to meet them until they're ready to marry you, because I don't want to be friends with them. And so I ended up meeting my youngest daughter, baby's father, and we ended up being good friends, making connection. I didn't think I'd do that. She don't like him for some reason, or mad at him, that she wanted me to take sides with her. I said, I can't do that. I say, you two got to work that out yourself. And then, she get mad at me and put me out, at her house. I'm way out in Long Beach, But my other daughter, my oldest daughter, she get at me disrespectful and talking crazy because I wouldn't take sides with my daughter and her boyfriend, and called me all kinds out my name over the phone. And it's like, then she tell me I'm not gonna see my grandkids anymore because I won't, like you say, I won't let them manipulate me and stuff like that. I'm like, what kind of mother will use to hurt their kids to hurt their grandfather? And so, like, I try to meet them halfway. I tell them still today, I'm gonna always leave the doors open for y'all, but I'm not gonna let you manipulate me or let you, put me in a situation where I feel uncomfortable. But like I told them, I love them. The door will always be open, but you're not gonna try to use them kids, my grandkids, to control me. And so my whole thing is, their mother used to control me before I was incarcerated and things like that. And they learned these things from their mother. Their mother is a pastor, a well-known pastor, doing good for herself and all this type of stuff. But their mother, I ain't saying all women, I'm just saying their mother was teaching my daughters how to have a man to take care of them. No, while I was incarcerated, I'm teaching my daughters how to be independent women. You don't need a man to take care of you. You need to, be able to take care of yourself. Because when I got incarcerated, I wasn't there to take care of my kid's mother anymore. And I felt bad that I wasn't there to take care of. So I wanted my daughters to be independent, where they don't have to worry about a man taking care of them. And so, and then their mother tell me when I came out, I owed her money for raising my kids, my daughters. And I'm holding my tongue, biting my tongue when she tell me this, because I want to tell her, no, you owe me money for fucking up my kids and stuff. And it was like, but I try to be, courage. I hold my tongue. Like someone was saying, by me being incarcerated, I went to all these groups. I was bettering myself. I learned how to speak to people. I learned how to listen to people. I learned how to communicate with people. I did all the nonviolent communications and things like that to better myself, to be able to talk to people, to be able to control my anger. So when I voice my opinion or my thought or something, it's my truth. It's my thought. I don't expect it for people to see life the way I see it.
Right, just see it the way you do. Yeah.
I see it as my truth is my truth, and their truth is their truth. So I don't judge people from the things they went through in life. I can only judge myself.
But I want to say this. Because something you said raised a point for me that I want to make this point.
Yes.
With women, there is a balance between being an independent woman and allowing a man to provide and protect. And because men are hunters and gatherers and protectors and providers by nature, and I can only tell you this from my own experience, my independence has often been a detriment to my relationships. So there's a balance somewhere between the two, because men and when it's healthy, again, there's balance. So there's that. Go ahead.
Let me say something. See, society made us humans think that a woman's supposed to depend on a man, make us think that a man is stronger than a woman. See, when a man see a woman who's independent, who's taking care of herself, who's strong, that man is weak. That man is not for that woman. That woman need a man who can meet her
Where
her
she
goals,
is.
her lifestyle. Because this man feel threatened by this woman's success in life of being who she are. Because a woman supposed to be able to do everything a man is supposed to do. You don't supposed to discriminate. They say, well, a woman don't do this. That's a man. No, a woman. We are human beings. And
I understand, but I I'm gonna tell you this: divinely so. Men were made. In your DNA. Men want to provide and protect. That is in a man's DNA. It doesn't mean dominate necessarily. It just means that is who they are. And I know too many women whose marriages and relationships fail because the woman was doing too much. And listen, and I'm not saying that is right or wrong. I'm just telling you what I know happens and what I've lived in my own experience. I had to do certain things. Let me tell you how far I had to go. So I had years ago had this relationship with this dude, and he was a hardcore gang banging, thugged out dude, right? Yep. But at this point in his life, he was pushing the line for peace. We met doing gang intervention. Okay. Yeah. So this is where he was in that transformation in his life where he wanted to do better and he wanted to encourage those that were in his hood to do better. Okay. So but what I had to do with him is I had to allow him to do certain things for me. I had to allow it because otherwise he didn't feel useful. And I can't take that from him.
That's a weakness.
No, it's not. Listen, let me tell you something. This dude was all man. I'm going to tell you from here what nothing about him that was weak in that way.
We're debating now. I've been around, like I said, I did 33 years straight in prison with double lifers. I seen the hardest so-called man be the weakest man. We all have weaknesses. We all have love. We all need someone who make it feel good. But I notice when it comes to women and men, women is more educated, sophisticated. They use their mind. Just like you said from the beginning of time, women had to learn how to manipulate to get their way with men, how to control men. Men was physically stronger, but the women's mind was stronger than the man because that was the way she survived. It's like a child do the parent. The child would manipulate the parents to get what they want, and they just raised and born that way to manipulate the parents. They cry, they make the look sad look on their face, and this what women had to go through back in the day to get their way with men. But now today's society, women have the jobs, women have the business. Most men feel threatened by women being in control that way.
Well, this is the thing. It's not even. Let's be clear. When we talking about a healthy relationship, we're not talking about control in either case, okay? Because control is something different, all right? Yeah. Control is a totally different element in a relationship. What we're talking about is even in healthy relationships, the DNA, and I saw your hand die, and I'll come to you in just a second, but the DNA of a man literally is for him to be a protector and a provider. And a woman who can provide for herself, like I do, I don't need a man to provide a roof over my head or those things. But what I do know is that I've had more than one man, and I don't care, and I've had them at all ranges, okay, who say, okay, and I'll put it to you this way, what I got was a better result, and men tend to lose affection for a woman that they are not providing for and protecting. They don't feel as affectionate toward her. And in fact, I just was counseling a lady. I was in Hawaii. She's a doctor and her husband is some whatever. But the long story short is that she was doing everything. And he told her, he said, I need you to allow me to be the man in my home. Okay, I need you to stop trying to do everything. You're not you stepping over into my lane, into things I'm supposed to be doing. And she made I asked her to do one thing. And I told her, I said, where you can, I said, I know, because what she was explaining to me is that her mother did everything. Her mother did everything in their household.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even though the father was there, the mother did everything. So her and her sisters, she said her mother would come home and still be cooking with her coat on coming in from work. This is how overworked her mother was. The problem is that when women are doing everything, we get overburdened. It's too much for us, and then we become resentful. So there's a lot. So there's the balance. Again, everything that's healthy has a balance. And that's why I just wanted to point out there's this balance between being independent and allowing a man to provide for and protect, because that's what they want to do. When that man wants to open that car door, when he wants to, don't want you to go out at night by yourself, and he want to get out and pump. My son will tell me in a minute, hey mom, don't stop at the gas station on the way home. If I'm leaving his house, don't stop at the gas station. Go home and text me when you get in the house. Like
that sound like an ego, sign of low self-esteem when a man needs to be the man of a woman, need to be a dominant woman. I noticed in relationships that when you're in a relationship, there's always someone want to dominate the other person in a way, not physically or anything, but run things. The man want to make more money than the woman. It's like that's not a man to me. A relationship is when two people is come to say, okay, babe, I can't use time for you to leave. I'm sick. I can't do it. I'm gonna follow your lead. That's a strong relationship when they let the other person take the lead in the relationship, because that person know what they're doing. That person have what it takes to run a relationship. I'm gonna follow you. Whatever you do, I got your back.
Let me tell you this though. In a healthy relationship, depending on what the circumstance is, that will happen in different circumstances in the same relationship. The man and the woman may take the lead. Okay, for example, if I'm better handling the finances, then let me handle the finances. If you better in the kitchen, ain't no sense in me rushing to go jump over you. In other words, I agree with you and I understand your point that men and women can do what each other can do. There's no need to restrict anybody to a box as to what their role is. Right. But what I do know is that inherently there are things in our DNA, our chromosomes. We got XX as women, y'all got XY. And there's certain things with those chromosomes that predict and produce certain things and desires. And with men, part of it is hunting and gathering, and which is the providing and the protection. They're going to want to protect. Like I say, my son don't have no ego problem with me. My son want to make sure his mama's safe when she get to the house. He don't want her out there at the gas station on Century and Main where they shoot up the people.
Let me say one thing then.
Go ahead,
baby. This is about relationship, right? Now you have women who have relationship with women. You have men in relationship with men. Now, where do that role fit in when two men is in a loving relationship? It winds up
the same thing. You wind up with one person is going to play the dominant role.
But you got that gene you was talking about though, right?
Well, it's still about balance though. I mean, you have that gene, but you also have to look at the fact that there are men who prefer men. That man who prefers another man may have a more submissive gene inside of him. There's still a balance. It doesn't matter what the relationship is, man, woman, son, mother, father, daughter. The gist of it from what I'm getting is there still has to be balance. It doesn't matter. A healthy relationship between two people has to have balance. And I'm an independent woman. I'm single. But when I get home with those groceries, I'm calling my son to carry those 52 bottles of water in the house, because as independent as I am,
but you called your son. You still running things. Hey, boy, come get these waters. You're still in control. How I say it. You're still that dominant person, though.
Because I'm dominating over the household in this particular instance, but I'm also, in my opinion, teaching my son the etiquette of being a gentleman.
That's a different part of being a gentleman. Yeah,
it's still about balance.
Yeah,
you said it's a different something. You said it's a different what?
Well, a gentleman, no matter who he is, he might not be in a relationship anymore, but he's going to open doors and he's going to help
Sure.
people out because he's being a kind, caring human being. He's going to open these doors and things like that and help someone else, or help say he's 20 years old, he's going to help the 80-year-old lady or 80-year-old man. He's being a gentleman. So that's kind of different, you know, being a gentleman instead of a relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, you know.
But thank you for that, Di. You wanted to say something.
No, just like Miss Tony just said, in a relationship, it doesn't matter woman, man, husband, lady and man. In a relationship, it has to be a balance, no matter what. Because if I don't feel in my relationship I'm wanted or needed, just like the guy doesn't feel wanted or needed, or if it's a girl, it has to be a balance in a relationship. It doesn't matter who it is. It just has to be a balance. Because if I don't feel wanted and needed, what am I here for?
Yeah, and that's what I found was when the guy that I was dating, he came home from prison, and even though I knew that he didn't, I was anticipated. Number one, he didn't have a place, he didn't have a car,
Right.
he didn't have a job. He was coming home from incarceration. Duh.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But for him, when he came home at that particular moment in time in my life, I was building a shopping center. We owned all these buildings. I'm in control of all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And for him, he told his little homegirl, he's like, I don't have nothing to give her right now. You know what I'm saying? So that made him feel like, you know, even though what I wanted was his heart.
Right.
Right. He needed to feel needed as well. And I know that I've seen a lot of men express that. So whether it is society programming that way or whatever it is still
I don't feel
a real
society.
thing.
I don't feel society is programming us that way, because before, what I can remember and understand coming through school about slavery, that wasn't being taught. It was being taught that we had to shut up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you know, it's just an interesting dynamic. But the key is that there has to be that balance. And so when there's another one that I have on here is when there's disrespect between the parties, right? So there are people who, I have a brother who honestly is extremely disrespectful, and was the first person I ever blocked from being able to get in touch with me, because he was my brother didn't mean that I had to allow him to be disrespectful to me. And he had been disrespectful for years and years and said some of the most horrible things to me that anybody has ever said to me in my life. And thankfully, because I had read Don Miguel's 4 Agreements, I didn't take none of that stuff personal, or one of us would have wound up dead and in jail. Because I swear the stuff he was saying to me, it was very hurtful, harmful, and you know, just it could have led to bad outcomes. So understanding that disrespect between parties is something. When it is dominated by one party's issues, needs, wants, desires, or personality. Be clear about that. When a relationship is one person's personality is more important and more dominant than everything else in the relationship, it's not healthy. It's not healthy, because that means that the other person's needs, wants, and desires are going left unattended. And that's unhealthy. When either party is controlled by fear, this is often the case in abusive relationships. And let's be clear, women can be abusive too. Narcissistic, abusive, just like men. I have a nephew right now whose wife is extremely abusive. And what happens is the fear of losing the relationship, or the fear of in violent, physically abusive relationships, the fear of being physically harmed, that fear of anything, but as much as fear as the person leaving the relationship. If you live in constant fear that they're going to walk out and they're going to leave you, that's unhealthy. And again, these are all relationships. I'll use an example too in the workplace. I know someone whose employer is constantly dangling their job over their head. Well, if you don't do this, well, you know, you're not living up to this. Okay, that's not the way to motivate somebody to do a better job. Constantly threatening them with their job, but that's fear. That's unhealthy and it's unbalanced. Now, that's not to say, because I'm an employer and I can tell you, I have to be able to tell my employees when things are working and when they're not. I have to be able to do that. I have to be able to say what the needs of the company are, but there's a way that you can do that that doesn't make someone feel like their job is constantly in jeopardy all the time. So the constant control by fear is another issue. When there's always something, this is one of the classic ways you could tell. When it's drama all the time in a relationship, that's the first clue is unhealthy. The drama of it all. We're not doing drama all the damn time. If it's an issue every time we look up, it ain't healthy, y'all. Get to stepping. I'm not doing drama every day. Okay? Something as simple as, oh, the trash need to go out. Why are you going to ask me to take out the trash? I don't know. Okay, that turned into a 5-minute dot. Okay, miss me. You got to get. Because I can take out my own damn trash. Like Mr. Bradley said, I can do that myself. I don't need your bullshit. Take out my damn trash. Okay. I don't need to hear no stress and no hollering and carrying on. I don't want no drama. I don't even want a person who come home and they got drama on their job every day. Because I don't want to hear that every day. Because see, what I found out is that.
Say that again.
I said, I don't want nobody to come home with drama from their job every day.
Every day.
Every day. Because guess what I know? Typically, a person that is the source of the trouble, they create it everywhere they go. It's not reserved just for me. So what winds up happening is they create drama at work. Then they want to come home and spew that drama on me, how everybody else was the problem. No, it is, look a little closer to home, player. Right. All the drama, you are the one constant in every relationship.
Yeah. I did say that. I said that to a former beau, that it's everything and everyone is an issue. I'm not gonna own that, and you got to go.
Well, and if you the one constant in all them relationships, you might want, like I say, look a little closer to home and find out what it is about you that you, if nothing else, surrounding yourself by these people.
Right.
And then the
you
last
can't be
one,
miserable all the time. Sorry.
Come on, man. Right.
I mean, you can't. Again, it's the balance. You have to balance yourself as an individual in order to be able to balance a relationship. You can't be miserable all the time. You just can't.
Who wants to? Who wants to? Like, I don't like the feeling that I get in my body when I'm angry.
No.
I don't like that. I also don't like when I'm sad or if I'm hurt. If you hurt my feelings, I'm more likely to want to fight when you hurt me than if you just piss me off. If you pissed off, I could just whatever. But if you hurt me, that means, and I think it's because I'm at a place in my life where you have to be really close to me to really hurt me.
Right.
So you had to have gotten in there some kind of way into that little soft spot. And then when you mess it up, and now I want to fight you. Because I let you in. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just dealing. Now I'm mad with me and you, and now I want to fight everybody had anything to do with it.
You make me mad. I'm mad at myself as well as mad at you. Yeah. Understood.
I say now I want to fight. But this is my favorite one. And it is when the relationship is not fun.
Time to go.
Time to go. It's such a simple barometer. But if you're not having fun, chances are some unhealthy stuff going on.
And that's a sign that when I said people don't recognize, when you always talking about how people it's always drama. You have so much drama around you and you don't see it that the person is actually you. That's a sign you haven't tapped in to understand that you have trauma that you have to deal with. Yeah. And you don't know how to deal with it. That's why you take it out on everybody else that's around you.
Yeah. And that's what happens. So those were the elements that I wrote in the book. And then I go into much deeper detail, but because it's already 7:15. Oh, guess what, Free to Heal folks? Yes. I just got a message from Mr. Floyd. Lawrence said that he was sick and he missed you girls.
We missed you too.
Do you know who I'm talking about, Miss Roberta? Lawrence. Look at that face. Look at that face. I just got to check this because I'm sitting here. Just came in.
I didn't see it.
Yep. So maybe he'll be back. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to go around. Rufus, I haven't heard from you tonight, sweetie. Tell me any comments you got on the topic, check out anything that was useful for you.
Uh, I think I should just check out, right? Because you guys said a whole lot, right? And there was a whole lot to say to everything that you guys said. So it wouldn't have did for me. It wouldn't have did nothing but go back and forth. Because, but I understand everything that you guys said. You know what I mean about the balance and all that. And, you know, I had something to say really about when you was talking about the kids. I had something to say when you was talking about the relationship, the guys. I had something to say when you talked about you know, when my boy was talking about, you know, men being intimidated or being weak by a stronger woman, and it was a lot. It was a whole lot. You know what I mean? So I just soaked it all in. That's all.
Good.
And it was good information though. You know what I mean?
Wonderful. Okay, and what I would say is, you know, like I tell you guys, I always like when you guys chime in and let us know what's going on with you. But thank you, and I'm glad that you're here, and thank you for putting in the chat the information about that program.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am, Miss Ward.
I just wanted to go next because I wanted to address, I was talking to someone. I wanted to address Mr. Bradley when Miss Carter said that she asked her son to come and get the water, and he said she's controlling. How is that controlling when you're teaching your child to be a gentleman? Thank you.
I didn't say she was controlling. I said she was still the dominant person. A controlling person. Yeah, a controlling person is telling a person what to do all the time and things like that. But she was still.
I used to tell my kids what to do because I'm trying to teach them lessons.
It wasn't her telling her kids to do. She just had him to come get the water and stuff like that. He was being a gentleman. He was a good son to come help his mother. That's all that was. Don't confuse the words now.
I didn't choose words, dear. Thank you.
Oh no, I said confused, not choose.
Okay, so so that is that your checkout. What else you got from tonight, babe, Miss Ward? Unmute, honey. Wait, unmute, because we can't hear you. Say it again.
Evidently, I have nothing to say.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Noreen?
Yes.
I find it really interesting that how we started off the meeting with negative environments or situations and how we progressed. In my PTS class, we were talking about goals and values and how we interact in society, not just families, not just friends, not just support systems. And it's the old saying, like the doctor says, if you touch yourself a certain way or you eat a certain thing and it causes pain, well, we're dealing with physical pain, we're dealing with psychological pain, and we're dealing with social pain because sometimes we're the pariah because we're out of prison. So I just thought it was really interesting that here I am in your wonderful class, and my PTS class was talking about and utilizing some of the same things. And we've talked about this for a long time. Relations has metamorphosed into other things. Originally, it was intimate. Then it was more family. Then it was family and friends. And it was, okay, we have to interact with society. It's not that things are more complex. Things are more spread out now.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to be aware of. And that's the key thing right there, awareness.
Yeah.
If you're uncomfortable in an environment, if it's a relationship, if it's you're eating something, you're doing drugs, even if it's a prescribed drug, if you have a problem with it, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you're having trouble with family or a relationship, set boundaries, talk about your goals. And here's the big one. You and I personally, we both talk about compromise. If something isn't that good, well, change it. You don't have to change it black and white overnight, but gradually change it. So, that's just my giving tonight because things are coming around back and forth. We do a 180 back and forth, sometimes every week.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Darius, can you unmute and give us your feedback on tonight.
All right, there I go. All right. So it's kind of funny that the 2 times I've been in this group, which is today the second time, that I was having out conversation with people about the topics we was having.
Wow.
And it's, me and a friend of mine was talking about the relationship, and it's crazy because I was saying the same thing, how relationships has evolved, and it's more about 50-50 because, when you feel that, your partner is not kicking up slack, and you got to kick up that slack, that becomes tiresome. And then all of a sudden, now it's no fun. Now it becomes all like that. And like right now, I got an 8-year-old little cousin. I'm teaching him how to be a gentleman, help a girl out. This is how we were supposed to be. I was taught that from my grandfather and my uncles, so I'm doing the same with him. So he's getting it, but he's 8, so it's gonna be a long road. But
let me tell you
that's
something.
me.
Don't worry about it. It sticks because when my son was 11, I made him start buying me Mother's Day cards, and he'll be 39 this year, and he's still buying them. Mother's Day and birthday, still buying them. That's right. And his wife is glad that I allowed him to do that and taught him how to do that.
Yeah. It's about teaching one and teaching people and helping people learn to develop themselves a little better. That's all.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna ask Mr. Mickey if you can unmute for me. There you
All
go.
right.
So what did you get out of tonight? What did you think?
Well, I love you guys, and I just listen, and I'll just relationships. Only one I got is with Francisco Holmes, my brothers, but I just live in love. I do listen to you guys, but I'm sure gonna come to the groups every week.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad you're home. I'm glad you're home. And I want you also, Mickey, if there's anything when we do our check-ins, if you ever find that there's anything you're going through or any topic that you want to discuss, by all means, just let us know on your check-in, and then we can discuss that and, help you or give you advice or just encourage you in ways that you need to be encouraged. Because this group is to make sure that everybody gets what they need out of it. And so I'm grateful that you're here, and I hope that we can be of assistance to you moving forward, okay?
All right, Noreen.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for the good group.
All right. And then Mr. Kit, let me try kind of go to you next. Kit, you gonna check out for me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. Listen, I think the group is great, but I'm just telling you, I had a hard time with this phone this day. I don't know what's going on. I'm doing the best I can today. I don't know. They told me something wrong with this phone. The system is out of date.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
This is Robert Pike calling y'all. Hold on a minute. Mr. Pike.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm finishing up the group and everybody can hear you. Say hi to Pike, y'all.
Hey, Pike. You have a great
Hey,
day.
Pike.
Can you hear them?
Hey, Pike.
You can hear them? You did? How you feeling?
My arm's killing me.
Your arm hurts, honey?
I don't care.
Well, I'm sorry. We get ready to end this group, and I'm going to call you when I get off, okay? Love you.
Love you.
Oh,
All right, Miss
like
Marie.
that he don't feel good.
All right, Miss Marie.
That's good. Well, you know what? I'm glad you stuck in there, and let's just face it, you're doing a lot better than it used to be, right?
Oh, hold it. Remember, I couldn't even get in the damn thing.
That's what I'm saying. I remember. I was there.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Progress, baby. We're going to be grateful for every bit of progress we can make, okay?
All right.
What kind of phone does he use?
What kind of phone do you use?
He has a special phone?
It's 5G something. Android.
Android.
So you have
5G Android.
You have the stuff on because he can't see. It's just all for verbal.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So that means she gonna figure out some kind of way to try to help make it easier for you. I saw that look in her eye. I done seen
Okay.
that look before. That's good. That's good. That's what we got her for. So Miss Di, you want to go next, babe? Gotta unmute for me.
Okay, so hello.
Uh-huh.
All right, so no, tonight, like I said, was a I like everybody's comments and conversations, but back to the guy when he was saying about how Miss Tony is still dominating the house. It's not a part of dominating the house. I have a child that's here that I'm showing how to run a house when he has his own house. How you have to always help when you have a house. It doesn't matter what house you're in. If I ask for help or someone in your house asks for help, you have to help out, because that's how you keep the family going in the right direction. It's not nobody dominating over nobody. I have kids here that have chores. I'm not dominating over them. This chores has to be done in this house to keep the house up and running. So if they don't do no chores, the house will be dirty.
Let me say something right quick.
Yes.
Now, it's a difference between a request and dominate. Dominating when you tell someone what to do. A request is when you ask someone what to do. That's two different things. That's not dominate. If you ask a person to do something, that's not dominating. All right.
Got you.
That's all I got to say on that part.
Got you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. That's wonderful. Miss Roberta.
They was on you, huh? Lionel.
But Lionel ain't scared of y'all. He don't care. Lionel knows today. Lionel got this. He ain't worried about y'all. He built for it, ain't you, Lionel? Lionel say he built for it. That's right, baby.
Okay. Again, I like tonight's talk, and I wanted to say welcome home to Mickey.
Uh-huh.
And I hope to see you next week. You seem like you trying to still figure things out. Yeah, Mickey. And good night.
Yes, I really am. I'm having a hard time because my memory's really messed up. I got brain damage. I mean, I graduated from high school. I wasn't dumb when I was young, but I got brain damage and my memory's real gone. So I got to continually seek help, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good catch, Roberta. That was a good catch. That was a good observation. And I'm glad that we know that, Mickey. And because then it helps us too. And if you ever find there's anything you need, we are a really helpful group. We crazy, but we helpful, okay?
Oh, that's right. I believe it.
All right. Thank you, Miss Roberta. And Latanya.
Hey, my group is getting ready to end. I'll call you back when.
Latanya, go ahead.
I like tonight's discussion. I always like to talk about how to build a healthy relationship and what red flags come up. Like, you know, I'm just soaking up the game and enjoying it.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you can join us. And Miss Tony, last but certainly not least.
Why do I have to go last?
Well, I'm gonna go last, but you're the only one on the screen who haven't checked out for me.
Sprinkle me, baby.
Besides which you HR, okay? You HR. You need to make sure that my folks can get off next week so they can be there early enough.
I don't control that piece. You guys are misconstrued on the HR's responsibility. So let me just clarify that for you.
Look, we just put it on you. We just put it on you. So
that's how it's been. Okay. I'm like a topical anesthetic right now. But again, you know, I definitely appreciate the group, because for someone who, you know, has never been incarcerated, and, you know, understanding that you have, the lessons that you learn. I'm not only here to teach lessons, but I'm also here to learn lessons, because I think that you never stop learning. And, you know, progress is a process for every one of us. We're all in different places. Tonight, we're in the same space, but we all have progress that we are looking to make and need to make. And to Mickey, you know, his struggles, we all have struggles, and hopefully this can be a supportive group for him and everyone here. including myself, that we all can get to those places that we need to get to. But I appreciate the village. And, I'm very big on it does not take a village to raise a child. It just takes a village.
Yes. And so for my checkout, I want to say I'm so grateful for all of the discussion. I'm grateful for all of the input. And I want to say, yes, Mickey's going to feel like a fish out of water for a while, because this is a totally different experience. And I hope that we can all be here to support him. I'm grateful, like you, Tony, I learn something all the time. It's one of the things that I love. One of the reasons I love to facilitate is because I get as much out of it. I learn as much out of it as I give. And so this is a great forum for us. Free to Heal, we get together every Tuesday to try to overcome the ravages of what incarceration has done to us, our loved ones, our community. And we just want to be better. We want to be healthy. That's what this discussion is about being healthy for us first, and then healthy for our families, our loved ones, and in our community. So if we have healthy individuals, healthy families, leads to healthy communities, which leads to a much healthier world in general. And I just want to thank each one of you for being here every week on Free to Heal. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all social media sites, YouTube. And I did good, didn't I, Shirley? I mentioned all of them. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Bradley, especially you tonight. Appreciate you. All right. See you guys later.